But what are you actually going to do to address this perceived weakness and allow a lot of voters that want to get behind you and want to support you to get past this issue of inexperience?
Right. Well, look, first of all, Sergey and Larry didn't have a lot of experience starting a Fortune 100 company. But, you know, what we're looking for, I believe, when it comes to leadership is judgment, vision, character. And that's what I bring to bear in this race.
Senator Obama has been a member of the same church in Chicago for 20 years, where his pastor has been Reverend Jeremiah Wright, the man who performed the Obama's marriage ceremony, and the man Obama credits for the title of his book, The Audacity of Hope.
And he often uses the gospel to affirm his strong political views, as in this 2003 sermon, damning the United States for its treatment of blacks.
The government gives them the drugs, builds bigger prisons, passes a three-strike law, and then wants us to sing God Bless America? No, no, no. Not God Bless America. God damn America. That's in the Bible for killing innocent people. God damn America for treating us citizens as less than human.
I don't think that my church is actually particularly controversial. He thinks it's important for us to focus on what's happening in Africa. And I agree with him on that.
He refers to the U.S. as under the influence of the Ku Klux Klan.
And they will not only attack you if you try to point out what's going on in white America, U.S. of KKKA.
I don't think that my church is actually particularly controversial.
In his first sermon after September 11, 2001, Reverend Wright said the U.S. had brought on the attacks with its own terrorism.
We bombed Hiroshima, we bombed Nagasaki, and we nuked far more than the thousands in New York and the Pentagon, and we never batted an eye.
Reverend Wright retired last month, but members of the church say he left a lasting impression on them and Senator Obama.
Not God Bless America, God damn America. We bombed Hiroshima, we bombed Nagasaki, and we nuked far more than the thousands in New York and the Pentagon, and we never batted an eye.
I don't think that my church is actually particularly controversial.
Selfless man of the people, Barack Obama, he loves to sing the sad songs about the working man, you know, Sally Muckenfutch, who's 12 years old and doesn't have a face. Well, he wants all of us to tighten our belts, make sacrifices for those in need. Unfortunately for Obama, he just released his tax returns, and it looks like he doesn't really practice what he preaches. What a surprise. Over the course of 7 years, with a combined salary that ranged from $240,000 to $1.6 million, the Obamas donated an average of less than 4% to charity total. Some years, it was actually less than 1%. For the single biggest charity check that he wrote, he made it out to the Black Liberation Theology pals over at Trinity Church for $27,500. So I just have to get this in my head and see if it works for you. He says he doesn't really listen to his church's radical beliefs, but then he hands over a check for 27 grand. Would you do that?
Got a question?
Frank Luntz, Sean Hannity, all your Democratic friends there. Here's my question, because they likability I understand about Barack Obama. Can you ask your audience to name any one specific accomplishment that they know of?
Okay. Can you name me a specific accomplishment of Barack Obama, Lori? Can you name one?
Community organizer?
Can you name one?
No.
No?
We're on his experience with the elderly.
He's a great orator like Jesse Jackson.
What's that?
It's reform bill in Congress.
What?
Yes.
Inspirational.
So basically, you're giving all his
No.
attributes rather than his...
I want to thank them for driving Sean.
that's what they're doing.
Frank, that's my point. They just like the personality. They can't name a specific thing, and they're going to vote this guy president.
You're going to hurt your hand if you keep doing that.
I don't get that.
You're a big Barack supporter, right, Senator?
I am. Yes, I am.
Well, name some of his legislative accomplishments. No, Senator, I want you to name some of Barack Obama's legislative accomplishments tonight, if you can.
Well, what I will talk about is more about what he's offering to the American people.
No, what has he
right now.
accomplished, sir? You say you support him. Sir, you have to give me his accomplishments. You've supported him for president. You're on national television.
Well,
name his legislative accomplishments, Barack Obama, sir.
Well, I'm not going to be able to name you specific
Can you name any
items of legislative
Can you name anything he's accomplished as a congressman?
No, I'm not going to be able to do that tonight.
Well, that's a problem, isn't it?
Well, well, no, I don't think it is, because I think one of the things that Senator Obama does is he inspires.